Hello, everybody. I have another very talented producer with me today. With me is Mac. Mac is an orchestral trailer producer. He does other genres as well. But orchestral trailer music was actually what got him accepted by one of the libraries in the Sync Edge program. And actually, Mac will tell you that he actually got a response within 15 minutes of sending an email with, I think it was 4 cues to this library. So he followed the directions, he followed the recommendations in the video, and he is now sitting with a contract. He's sitting with a library in his back pocket. And also, he got on the phone with the CEO of the company, which is always, and I tell you guys, that is always the best sign that you're partnering with a great company. Potentially, no guarantees, but I hope that if you're getting somebody that's calling you, that means that they want to give you the time of day and they want to potentially get you into their inner circle to start giving you those really awesome custom queue opportunities that they get, as well as just sort of fast tracking you into getting placements, because you don't want to be in a company where you're just one out of 10,000 producers. It just doesn't work out well for you in the long run. You might get lucky, but you need to be better than lucky to succeed in this business. You need to have relationships. So Mac is certainly building those relationships. So Mac, welcome aboard, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man. So walk me through a little bit about your experience with music licensing. What were you doing before you got involved with Sync Edge? How much experience had you had with this industry?
I'd had very little. I've always done music my whole life, but I've only really started producing within the past 7 or 8 months. So the whole licensing industry was quite new. I'd applied to maybe three libraries before this successful one, and they were all no's. I wasn't sending them exactly what they were looking for. But yeah, so I guess as far as my experience goes, relatively new experience for me.
That's crazy. So you've only been producing for 7 or 8 months?
Yeah, I mean, I've always done music. Like I've been in a couple bands here and there doing like rock music. I've played guitar, piano, and stuff my whole life. But as far as actually producing music, using my computer and stuff like that, yeah, it's been less than a year, anyways.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear, because that's really not that common that people, when they first get started with producing, even if they've been doing music their entire lives, as you know, producing is just a whole different skill set. It just requires a whole
Mhm.
different set of skills with your hands, with your ears, mixing and mastering and messing with plugins. It's much more meticulous, methodical, technical.
Yeah.
You're playing live shows, it's more emotion, feeling, performance. There's just a whole different side of it. It's much more of a physical endeavor, and this is much more of a mental kind of a thing, a mental exercise going on. So that's really cool to hear that you're getting successful within the first year, getting accepted by a library.
Mhm.
I know I certainly didn't get accepted by libraries for a few years after I was producing tracks. So you're definitely ahead of the curve in that department. That was really cool. So walk us through your acceptance. So you saw one of the videos in the membership area. What made you decide this was the library you wanted to submit to? And what was it that helped you decide your tracks were ready to go?
Um, a big thing that I was thinking when I was watching the video that you put out on this one is the music that you were going through was sort of along the lines of what I was putting out in the first place. And then I was thinking in my head, what I heard was lacking, and then it sort of lined right up with what you went on to say a couple of minutes later with what was lacking in the music. So I just thought to myself, you know what? If I can put out this kind of music and I already can sort of see what's lacking and it's lining up with what you're saying, why not just go for it? I mean, there's no way I'm going to be 100% certain that I'm absolutely going to get into this library. So I just picked three of my best ones, put it on a SoundCloud link, sent it off, and heard back from the guy. Yeah, not even 20 minutes later, he'd given it all a listen to and really liked what he heard.
That's awesome. And then how quickly after that did you get on the phone with the CEO?
So he sent me a contract template in his response email. He sent me a couple of paragraphs with the things that he liked, the things that he thought could be improved a little bit, and the things that he was specifically looking for. And then he sent me the contract template and asked me to send him the music over. So I sent him all of the tracks over, and he then gave me a phone call back before he sent the finalized contract over. So it was probably uh, I took 2 days to really read over the contract, really think about it, and to just do a little more research. So yeah, within 2 days.
That's awesome. And it moves that fast in this industry, guys. I know that sometimes, and it's definitely happened. I know I have some syndicate members that they submitted to libraries and it was like 4 months later, 5 months later, they finally get a phone call or an email like, so sorry, we've been so busy, but we love your music and we actually want to sign you. So unfortunately, you just can't predict that stuff. Sometimes people have busy seasons or the whole company is involved heavily in some sort of a custom project and they have no time for anything else or anybody else. And they get back to your submission months later. But other times like this, you get it right away, like immediately that day. In my experience, that's usually when I get my responses as well. It's within 24 to 48 hours. I usually hear back a yes if they're interested in working with me. And that's why I tell you guys, if it's been a week, maybe 2 weeks, and you haven't heard anything, I do think it's appropriate to send up a polite follow-up to say, just wanted to make sure you received my previous submission and you also attach that same email again. So they don't have to go searching through their inbox. What you don't want to do is give them grief about it, try to guilt trip them, make them feel bad about why they haven't responded to you. So just as a polite reminder to let them know that you are still interested in submitting to them and you wanted to make sure that your email didn't get lost in a spam folder or something like that. And if that second one doesn't get through, okay, that just take the L on that one. You're not getting accepted by them. They either are too busy or they're just not interested. And that's okay. You know, not everybody is going to be your business partner. Not everybody's going to be your library. So you got to move on to the next one. But the only way to guarantee that you succeed is you do what Mac here did, is that he faced some rejections before he got this success. So he faced those 3 rejections or so. And he just said, you know what? I'm just not good at producing. I just don't think this is for me. He could have taken that line. Like that could have been the script that he started following and then not submitted anymore. But he knew he had something to offer. He knew he had a talent. And so he said, okay, that sucks getting rejected those 3 times, but I think there's somebody out there for me and I just got to find them. And that's exactly what he did. So I'm really glad you saw that sort of that in that you get, because that really, I hope it does a lot to your confidence and it does a lot to your ability to know that you can do well in this business as long as you just keep going. One of the big questions that I get is, of all the producers that sort of don't succeed in the licensing business, like what's the one thing that they all have in common? Which is a great question. I had to think about it and I realized, well, they all have different reasons. Sometimes, you know, they get busy with life, they have family things, they got to go, you know, work takes over their life, whatever it is, or other musical projects. But the one thing that everybody that sort of goes a different path has in common is they all went a different path. They all gave up on music licensing. That's really the only thing that got in their way, is they just decided that something else was more important, had more of a higher priority in their life. So all I can say is follow Mac's, you know, example here by making licensing your priority. Even if you're not seeing the initial success that you were hoping for, the initial acceptance letters, there's still a place for you. There's still somewhere out there that you can find to market and sell and then license your music to get those royalties. And that's what I hope SyncEdge is going to do for lots and lots of you. And I'm seeing more success stories like this from people like Mac. And so that really gets me excited that this stuff really does work. So Mac, thanks again for being here, buddy. I really appreciate your time.
Not a problem. Thank you.